You have to walk the talk. You have to be authentic as a leader. If you're not doing it, they see that.
It is entirely universal. There's other people who are going through this.
For me, a great leader needs to be able to marry three things: vision, systems, and people.
Welcome to Leadership Moments if this is your first time, and if you are returning, thank you for your support.
This show is about leaders from all walks of life, leadership tips, and maybe even a little of what you wouldn't expect to help you in leadership.
We would appreciate it if you tell someone else about our podcast as we strive to support all leaders that want to just be better.
Let's get on with the show. Stacey, can you believe this is the kickoff for our third season of this podcast?
I can't. It is unbelievable. It seems like we just recorded our first episode, and it's so much fun. And as a reminder to our listeners, we started this to help leaders across the world. So thank you to our listeners for tuning in every week and making this part of your leadership development as you continue to invest in yourself.
Yeah, that's right. We're just, we're so grateful to be your go-to podcast, reminding you that you're not alone on your professional journey. And in this new season, we're going to continue this learning by giving you Leadership Blitz episodes. These will be 5-minute episodes that tie sports to leadership lessons. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And our host and script writer for Leadership Blitz was really hard to find, Tracy Ann, but she found a way. She mustered up, getting up, walking around, and walking to the next room in her house and hired her husband, Rob Palmer, who is going to be our Leadership Blitz host. So super excited. If you don't know Rob, he is very into sports, but also a great leader as well. And he does great analogies to help you understand. So we are super excited about it. And as long as you're subscribed to this podcast, you're automatically going to receive the Leadership Blitz episodes as well.
Yeah. And just for all of you, he actually was a football coach. So you're definitely going to be learning from one of the experts. Now,
yeah, and it won't be just football though. It's going to be all.
It won't just be football. No. It's going to be everything. But he played other sports too. But he's a coach. Let's just call him a sports coach. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's have some fun and dive into 2025 predictions. So, Stacey, I think we're going to feel like fortune tellers here, but that's, part business strategist today.
Yeah, right.
We don't do fortune telling, that's for sure. So, yeah.
But I'm going to dust off my crystal ball for sure. And though, we promise our predictions are going to be a little bit of data-driven. There might be a little mystical there as well. And, maybe we'll have a little fun there too toward the end as we go through this.
Yeah, you may be right. But let's start with more data-driven first because, we're both data-driven people. So let's talk about the biggest trend that I see coming, the continued evolution of work models. And this is getting really interesting. What's your take on hybrid and remote work in 2025?
Yeah, I'm betting that we're going to see even more nuanced approach. So it's not just about working from home or the office, but creating a truly flexible, outcome-focused environment. And if we focus there, it won't even be a conversation of, are you remote? Are you in the office or whatever? Because it's about the actual outcome.
Yeah, that's right. I predict that we're going to see companies completely reimagining their physical spaces, first of all. And part of that is because they're trying to bring people back into the office. So think collaborative zones that are less about individual desks and more about team interaction, project spaces, creating environments where people can innovate and do strategy work.
Yeah, and let's not forget the global talent pool too, right? Remote work has literally opened up a world of possibilities for recruiting as well.
It's interesting you say that. just anecdotal. I was on a call yesterday. We were having a bit of fun, with the team, and on the call we had people that were sitting in Germany, in Brazil, everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And all of our developers and our engineers. And I just loved it. I loved it because I'm such a fan of being able to live and work wherever you are. And, talent exists all over the world.
Yes.
Don't limit yourself.
And that diversity is huge too, which that's another episode we talked about.
That's exactly right. So, I'll raise you up. I think that we will see AI-powered scheduling and collaboration tools that make hybrid work seamless. So imagine an AI that can perfectly coordinate team meetings across multiple time zones, work preferences, even understanding individual team members' peak productivity hours.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, but also
Yes.
a little bit terrifying too. So are we becoming too dependent on technology, I think would be the question.
Well, that's the billion-dollar leadership question, right? I mean, it's all about balance. We leverage technology to enhance human connection. We're not going to replace it. And the most successful leaders in 2025 will be those who can blend technological efficiency with this genuine human empathy.
Love that. Yeah. And speaking of human connection, I'm predicting emotional intelligence and empathy will be non-negotiable leadership skills in 2025.
Absolutely, 100%. We're seeing that rise already, right? But I'm going to add a bit of a twist. It's not just about being empathetic. Leaders will need to be what I call strategic empaths, right? Understanding team dynamics while still driving the business results.
Yeah, break that down for me. What makes a strategic empath?
Well, it's really a leader who can read the emotional landscape of the team. So understanding individual motivations, but just still making tough business decisions. So they're not just caring, but they're strategically caring.
Okay, I love that distinction. And so it's about understanding that empathy isn't soft, it's a strategic advantage.
Exactly. And in 2025, with increasingly diverse and global distributed teams, this skill becomes crucial. And, when I think about that word strategic, it's not that you're faking it. So I just want to be clear. It's that you're leveraging your strategic capability with your empathy. That's the power.
Yeah, totally agree. And I love that you made that point. All right, I want to dive into something that many dance around. Mental health in the workplace. 2025, I think, is going to be a pivotal year for this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're speaking my language. I really predict that we'll see mental health move from a nice to have to a critical business strategy. I really do.
Yeah. What do you think that looks like practically?
Well, I think that companies will start treating mental health resources like any other business critical infrastructure, right? We're talking about proactive mental health programs, not just reactive support. Things like meditation rooms, the mandatory health days, the AI-powered wellness check-ins. Some companies are already part of this. I know that this is something that we had at VMware. I mean, we had counselors that we could actually physically go talk to, and we didn't pay for that. But it's going to increase. Mental health is on the rise. It is on the rise.
Yeah. And you're right. There are some companies already doing this. There's wellness rooms, meditation rooms. They have different names for them depending on the company that you're at, but totally agree. And what about AI-powered wellness check-ins? That sounds both innovative and slightly invasive.
I know. But, if you think of it like a sophisticated, compassionate check-in system that can detect early signs of burnout or stress and recommend personalized support without feeling like Big Brother is watching.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Aura Ring and stuff like that, the wearables that they start sensing your body wearing down and giving you that notice. So I love that idea. All right, let's talk a little more tech. So AI is obviously, it's going to be huge. I think 2025 is the year of responsible AI integration.
Absolutely it is. Yes. Now, but tell me what you mean by responsible AI.
Yeah. So ethical implementation, transparent algorithms, understanding bias, which is a big one, ensuring AI supports human workers instead of replacing them, all those things.
Yeah, and I'm going to predict that we'll see more companies creating, this AI ethics roles. It's not just IT positions, but strategic leadership roles that they're going to focus on responsible technology use.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. Leadership is becoming more about navigating technological complexity with a human-centered approach. And so it's really, really cool to think about that.
Yeah, and here's one other thing I want to just touch on, something that I'm personally passionate about. It's the sustainability. It's not just an environmental issue anymore. It's actually a leadership imperative.
Yeah, you mean beyond recycling and carbon footprints, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm predicting when we go into 2025, we will see this purpose-driven leadership becoming much more of a competitive advantage. So companies will, be judged not just on their financial performance, but on their social impact.
Yeah. So leaders can almost become like social entrepreneurs. Really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And more like holistic value creators, right? So profit and purpose are not competing priorities. They're interconnected strategies. Now, one prediction I'm certain about, the half-life of skills is shrinking. Leaders can't rest on their laurels.
Yeah, continuous learning isn't just a nice to have, it's survival. And so micro credentials, online learning, rapid upskilling, these are going to be crucial. Totally agree.
And I bet we'll see more companies offering like learning stipends that aren't just your traditional education, but include things like AI training, soft skill workshops, even creativity courses, because creativity, in the world of tech, for instance, that's huge.
Yeah. Talk about that. Creativity courses for business leaders. I want to hear more about that.
So, innovation doesn't come from rigid thinking, right? Where we're sort of set in our ways, right? Like this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to continue to do it. Companies are realizing that creativity is a strategic advantage.
Yeah.
And that's how products are born, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's give some more predictions that maybe others aren't talking about, or we might not exactly have a lot of data behind, but our gut is saying this will be the thing. So what do you think?
Okay. How about something that's not often discussed in leadership circles? The incredible potential of neurodiversity in 2025.
Oh, go on. This sounds like it's going to be interesting. I love this one.
So imagine a leadership landscape that doesn't just tolerate different brain wiring, but actively sees it as a competitive advantage. So I predict in 2025 will be the year neurodiversity moves from accommodation to celebration.
So what does that actually look like in practice when you say that with a competitive advantage?
Great question. So companies are going to start redesigning their entire talent acquisition and team. They're going to build strategies around neurodivergent strengths. And we're talking about purposeful recruitment of individuals with, conditions like autism and ADHD and dyslexia. So not as a diversity checkbox, but as a strategic problem solver.
Yeah. Can you give me like a concrete example for me and and our listeners too, so they understand it?
Yeah, sure. So take pattern recognition. Okay. So sometimes with autism, we might see complex data connections that our neurotypical leaders might completely miss. Or an individual with ADHD might bring incredible creative problem solving and hyperfocus in ways traditional models completely overlook, right? I mean, we see that in autism a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not about fitting neurodivergent individuals into existing systems, but redesigning systems to leverage their unique capabilities.
Exactly. So, and this is the power, right? This is the power of what we have our hands on right now. I'm predicting specialized leadership tracks, so team configurations, algorithms that'll match this neurodivergent strengths with specific project needs and training programs that'll help these neurotypical and neurodivergent leaders communicate more effectively.
Yeah, that feels like it's more than just a trend. It sounds like a fundamental reimagining of workplace potential. I love it.
And that's because it is. 2025 is going to be about recognizing that innovation doesn't come from uniformity. It comes from celebrating cognitive diversity.
Love it. All right. I've got a prediction that might sound a bit radical, but this is our mystical part. So 2025 is going to be the year of intentional, intergenerational leadership ecosystems.
Okay. You've got my attention. That sounds like more than just mentorship.
Yeah, it's a way beyond traditional mentorship, which you and I talk about all the time, right? So I'm talking about creating organizational structures that aren't just about senior leaders teaching younger employees, but a true two-way knowledge exchange that breaks down every generational barrier.
Two-way knowledge exchange. So, okay, elaborate.
All right. Imagine corporate environments where a 65-year-old executive learns digital communication strategies from a 25-year-old. Or while simultaneously sharing complex strategic thinking and historical business context. So we're moving from a hierarchical knowledge model to a circular wisdom ecosystem.
So it's not about age. It's really about recognizing the value each generation is bringing.
Yeah, precisely. So like Gen Z isn't just bringing technical skills, they're bringing entirely new paradigms of work, social responsibilities, and technological integration. And seasoned leaders aren't just, they're not just repositories of old strategies. They're adaptive thinkers with decades of nuanced experience as well. So circular.
So how would companies actually implement something like this?
Yeah. So I predict that we'll see deliberate organizational design. So think quarterly wisdom swap programs where teams are deliberately mixed across generations, digital platforms that facilitate knowledge exchange, and performance metrics that actually reward cross-generational learning and collaboration.
Stacey, this sounds like it could really revolutionize how we think about organizational learning.
Yeah, and it's not just learning. It's about creating resilient, adaptive organizations that can navigate complex global challenges by leveraging the collective intelligence of multiple generations. It really can be so powerful.
That's fascinating. And I think you're onto something there. I really think you're onto something there. So here's a prediction that might sound completely out there, which would not be unrealistic from me, okay? Little
embrace your crazy, Tracy Ann.
Embrace your crazy. Here it comes. In 2025, we're going to start measuring organizational success through emotional currencies.
All right, emotional currencies. What are we training in feelings now?
Not exactly, but close. I'm talking about developing sophisticated metrics that go beyond financial performance, ready to quantify team well-being, psychological safety, collective emotional intelligence.
All right, you've got me intrigued. So what does that actually look like?
So imagine performance reviews that aren't just about numbers and outputs, but it's going to include measurable indicators of team resilience, empathy, capacity, collective stress management. Companies will start to develop what I call sort of emotional balance sheets.
So we're turning emotions into data points?
Yeah, it's more like recognizing emotions as a critical business intelligence and business success factor. Because we know when we look at all the stats, there are things that are tied to productivity, profitability, all that, to someone's emotional well-being, right? So advanced AI could help track team sentiment, predict burnout risk, provide real-time recommendations for maintaining psychological health.
All right. So this feels like we're moving from seeing employees as resources to seeing them as complete human ecosystems.
Oh, I love that. Yes, exactly. Wow. Good thinking. Putting on that thinking cap there with human ecosystems. I love that. Okay, so leadership in 2025 will be about managing human potential, not just human productivity. And you and I, we talk a lot about human potential, and capability, and how all of us have beyond capable, that we even understand or know.
For sure. Yeah, it's hitting that peak performance. What is your peak performance? And it's always further than you think.
Yeah.
All right. I got another wild 2025 prediction. So we'll see leadership models inspired directly by natural ecosystems.
Huh. Okay. Biomimicry in business?
Well, think about how forests work. Trees don't compete, right? They communicate, share resources, they adapt to changes collectively. So what if we designed organizations to function more like natural ecosystems?
Wow. So you're talking about completely reimagining organizational structure.
Precisely. So leadership becomes less about top-down control and more about creating conditions for collective intelligence to emerge. So decision-making models that mimic how ant colonies solve complex problems, right? Organizational resilience inspired by how coral reefs recover from disruption.
Wow. I have a story about ants, which is interesting, and I've got that picture in my head right now that I'm picturing from our trip to Africa, where they told us how that ant colony works, with an anthill that was, the size of me.
Wow.
Yes, truly. And all the workers are outside, and you literally touch it. And the minute you touch it, all of the workers disappear, and they go call the security guards. And then you see the security guards come up, and they are 3 times the size of the workers. So, that's what I'm picturing. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really, I mean, you're actually onto something here, because those ecosystems function with the power of those individuals. Anyway, I'm probably totally off track here, but I love it. Absolutely love it. So leadership becomes more about creating adaptive, interconnected systems, which I love, rather than rigid hierarchies.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we'll see companies developing organizational ecologists, leaders, who understand how to cultivate training, interactive work, or interconnected work rather, environments that can flex and respond like living systems, right? And so, Tracy Ann, we've covered a lot of ground. Any final thoughts on 2025?
Yeah, I've got this picture in my mind of, when those people live in those ecosystems, they're trying to build everything up. Oh my gosh, what an experiment. I'm there with you, Stace. I'm there in 2025 with you. Okay. So leaders, remember, change is the only constant. Stay curious, stay adaptable, and most importantly, stay connected. Stay connected with your team, stay connected with emerging trends, and stay connected with yourselves and stay connected with us.
Yeah, right. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. So, subscribe to our podcast. Let us know what you want to learn and who you want to hear from as guests on our show.
Yeah, see you next time. Here's to 2025 as we come around the corner. If you enjoyed the show, please go to leadershipmomentspodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast or on your favorite player, as well as follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn.
You can also send us a message on what you like and don't like, or what guest you want us to have on the show.
So until next time.
This is Stacey Castor, and what doesn't challenge you won't change you.
And I'm Tracy Ann Palmer. Be the change you wish to see in the world.